I saw her already like.
Oh,
all right.
Still not pretty.
Get up to get my tea.
You're up. You've live.
Yes, you just get up and get your tea. Hello, everybody. So we're in the class today. Love at first sight.
Talk.
Oh, first talk. You know it better than I do. Love at first talk. And we don't have all the people here yet. Hi, Anna.
Sorry I'm late.
Sit here. Yeah.
That front row seat.
Yeah.
But we're already live, so I start to talk because we tape it today live, for Facebook.
Oh,
yeah.
cool.
Yeah. So until everybody arrives, we just start already. How are you doing?
Good.
Yeah. It's Mercury retrograde.
Yes.
You notice? So it's actually perfect timing for a communication class in whatever way, because that is an invitation from the universe, from the stars above, to make us talk better, right? And have better communications, because Mercury is also the planet of communication, of course. Yeah. What is it, Annie?
Okay, well, I have a misunderstanding about Mercury retrograde, which is that all communication is lost. And sometimes that's not the case for me. Last night,
It can be the case, though.
and I'm in my building. A new neighbor, I needed to talk about something very personal to him.
Yes.
And he was very upset. And I told him, I've actually had this exact same problem, and here's the solution. This is an organization that can help you with your personal problem. And he, I think he felt so relieved because he felt, and I thought, how could this happen that we communicated so well in Mercury? It was meant for me to give him this.
Yes. Because, it really depends on so many things. We're not doomed just because
He needed this.
it's like Mercury retrograde. So it's also right now Venus retrograde. And that means that we also reassess our relationships, how we relate to things. So Mercury retrograde is how we reassess our thinking and our communication, but it can go both ways. You can actually find the courage and the energy to bring something up that you didn't dare to talk about, you revisit it, yeah, or you can go into the opposite. Yeah. Usually where it comes out more as a disaster can be with a phone. So now I have those phone sessions. I sometimes just lose the people in the middle of the phone session, or the computer doesn't work or something like that, But we're not doomed. It's just something that when you know it, you can use it, and you can use it like you do right now, all of you, to improve your communication skills, to check what do I actually think. And because both comes together, I did that on purpose. You have to think about those things. So we have Venus retrograde, which is good for any kind of relationship, and we have Mercury retrograde. So this class is, it's called Love at First Talk. Makes total sense, right? Okay. Anything else? So then I would like, those who have those shoes, you can put them on the side. Yes, because then it's not so loud. Look at my shoes, I put them on the side too. So I want to actually go right into it, like always. And I want to talk about the 3 common mistakes that a lot of people make when it comes to talking relationships. And of course there are more mistakes, probably, but let's not exaggerate, yeah. I thought those 3 are actually quite important. And I want to invite you, when you listen to this, that you actually check, how is that true for me and how is it not so true for me, or maybe you are not conscious about it. That can happen too. So the first mistake that I observe is wanting to leave a certain impression behind. So when we connect with somebody, yeah, you know what I'm talking about, wanting to leave a certain impression behind, yeah. And I call it, I'm sometimes a little bit cheeky. Now I call it too busy selling yourself rather than being yourself.
Very good.
That's exactly what I
You like that? Oh, thank you. Too busy selling yourself, and I'm talking about all of us. So when I say you, I don't think I don't do that. Yeah, too busy selling yourself rather than being yourself, right? So we want that this person has a certain opinion of us, or we want that this person likes us or dislikes us and leaves us alone. But this is not why we come tonight. We come here because we want to actually improve all of this. And then we're not how we actually are. We try to be a conscious version of ourselves at its best. But, which is not, there's nothing wrong with it. The problem is just it can be very strenuous, strenuous,
Yeah.
and it can be exhausting, and it can be that we lose ourselves in this connection, or not so much connection, because we're really more busy trying to be a certain person, to be at our best. And when this is a relationship that will be going on for the future, the problem is that all of a sudden the other person thinks when they get to know you better, or you get to know them better because they do the same, who are you? What the heck? What did I sign up for? Because then you can't keep that up. And then you actually, everybody nods here and probably on the other side of the camera, and then you ask what happened to us. We liked each other so much. It was such a nice person in the first place. Yeah, that was the person that this person thought it should be. She should be, right? And we all do that, of course, yeah. And very often it's subconscious. So I think it's actually better when we can, and I will have more solutions to that, when we can observe ourselves. What am I doing while I'm with this other person? Am I still me? I can do that right now, and you can do that right now, especially when the camera is on. That's weird for me. Yeah. So for me, it's easier when I have people in front of me, and then we interact. When the camera is there, I never know who's watching. Yeah. And so you can't interact with those people. So I can now check with me, and you might have the same while you sit here. So you can now check, am I still myself? Or do I try to be a version of me that I can't keep up all the time? That doesn't mean that, we have different personalities inside us. We have different faces inside us, right? And that doesn't mean that we're lying. It's normal that we switch back and forth according to the situation. We are in different moods and so on. The thing is that reflecting my authenticity at that moment. That's what I'm talking about. Does that make sense so far? Yeah? Yeah? They can't answer, which is sometimes good, yeah? Nobody can actually say anything against it. Okay, the second common mistake is not knowing how to open up a conversation. Some people don't have that problem, but when it matters, you might have. When you really are interested in somebody, or you like somebody, or want to get to know somebody new, but you don't know them yet, and it matters to you, look what you actually do. As soon as it matters, we can get very nervous, which is not a bad thing. Yeah. Who knows that? For example, I know it. Yeah. Anybody else here who has ever had that? When it matters, then you get nervous and you don't know how to open up a conversation. And good evening. And so very often it is that we're too busy with expectations rather than excitement. Too busy with expectations rather than excitement. You know, let's say somebody's not on your wavelength at all, yeah? Or it's very important to you and you get nervous, what I said before. Then it might be that you first are busy with what you expect from this person in order to talk to that person at all. You know, you might not talk to them because you think, oh, they're not on the same wavelength. Or you might not have so much in common for whatever reason. So we are more busy with that talk in our head about the expectations that we have, what could happen, what could go wrong, you know, what do I fear maybe, you know, or somebody looks a certain way and I feel like, oh my God, I can't talk to that person, or their English is so crap that they don't talk to you, you know, happened to me too. So rather than excitement, and with excitement I mean that you can turn this talk inside your head around into, you know, how exciting could that actually be to get to know this person? I might be astonished, you know, and a lot of people I have observed that don't know how to create that excitement when they don't feel it in the first place, you know, and especially when you have to deal with all kinds of people. So that's not just for, you know, loving relationships. I think it is for loving relationships more important because the expectations rise. And then we forget about the excitement, but also when you have to work with all kinds of people. Do you know what I'm talking about? So let me give you an example. So let's say Paul. So my husband, Paul, when I knew him, that's not a real story, you know. I knew him for 13 years already, yeah? The number 13. Okay, so it's our lucky number, and I did not expect that I would talk to Paul about deep spiritual subjects, yeah? So once we started to get to know each other, you know, he was astonished that he could talk to me about certain psychic abilities that he would never admit. And now I'm admitting it in front of all the people. Yeah, he would never admit that he has psychic abilities, and he was astonished that he could talk to me about that. Yeah, so he did not expect that. So you can expect too much, or you can expect too little and not even go there. And so we were totally excited that we could both have that kind of communication. Yeah. So when it's not there, you can learn. Actually, you know, you can learn that. And I'm offering those kind of things where you can train yourself to create an excitement where there doesn't seem an excitement yet. Yeah, and it's astonishing how you get to know all these people. Yeah, I have to do it all the time in my work, especially maybe not now so much anymore, but when I was traveling a lot, I met a lot of people from totally different countries with totally different mentalities, and I never knew, you know, what comes out of this mouth in front of me, you know, and also how do they react to me. So that kept me in a certain, you know, necessity to stay excited. Yeah, what comes now? That's very important. And very often we lose that when we think we know this person already, especially family members, right? That's a big one. And they do that with us too. They don't explore that anymore. Or people that we think we know, like friends or so. Yeah. But for a first contact, it's always important too. And the third common mistake that people make is not being able to listen and to keep a conversation interesting. Not being able to listen and to keep a conversation interesting. Right? So listening is a big deal. I call it too busy getting your point across rather than crossing the point to explore someone's world, including yourself, because you might have changed. When you make that point, once in your life, you might have changed when you're now talking to somebody, right? So, does it make sense? This not listening. Actually, this not being able to listen gets worse. Sorry about that. I sound maybe negative, but I mean it gets worse. Because nowadays we don't have to talk. We can text a lot, yeah. And I know that for business and for organization and a lot of things can be done with texting, even easier, than with talking. But not when it comes to exploring somebody's truth, or even exploring your own truth, or sharing your own truth. Does that make sense? So I can understand, and I do it more and more too, for good reasons, the texting. But texting does not replace a communication. Hi, we're online, we're live online. Please have a seat. Yeah.
Good day, everybody.
Good day. So more and more people are coming, and that is very important. Also, when we are busy to get our point across, then we are actually more busy with our own thoughts. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And this, except for one person.
I'm gonna find out though. Yeah.
So then we are so busy with, I want to get my point across, that we actually don't listen what this person has to say anymore. Makes sense, right? We all do that. Yeah. So that are the three common mistakes, at least that I observed. So I summarize for everybody. So the first one was wanting to leave a certain impression behind, too busy selling yourself rather than being yourself.
Good one.
I know. So the second one was not knowing how to open up a conversation, especially when somebody doesn't seem to be from your tribe or on your wavelength. That means too busy with expectations rather than excitement. And the third one was not being able to listen and keep a conversation interesting, which can mean too busy getting your point across rather than crossing the point of exploring someone's world. So, I've been asked to give classes. I've been asked by my spirit guides. Actually, I've been told. And I've been asked by real living people to give classes for dating. And I thought, me? I thought, no way, because I don't date, And I thought, where the heck does that come from? And I need to say it tonight, because it makes sense in the meantime, but it took me a few weeks. So my spirit guides and people that are really alive. And when I was thinking back,
Are you sure?
I don't know if they feel alive, but they seem to breathe, and they have a heartbeat, and they have all the, the things that makes you think they are alive. And I was thinking about it, where does this come from, that people ask me that I should help them with the dating. Yeah. And then I looked back, because I said to Paul, to my husband, I said, I can't do that. I'm not built for that. And he said, bullshit. He always says bullshit, talking about good conversation. But he was right. And I knew that he was right because we know each other for so long. And before we were together, I had, really good conversations with people. And with some of them, I ended up to be together, for a few years because it wasn't meant to be. But that doesn't mean that it was bad. We did all kinds of things like a world trip or other things, And then I had to empty the space because Paul had to be my husband, so I didn't have time for that anymore. But actually when I look back, and I thought, oh my goodness, it makes actually sense because I had relationships and they worked for what I thought they should work at that time, I had a certain expectation and I had a lot of lack of expectation. And it worked, and it was meant to be, and it gave me a certain experience. And I thought about that. And I thought, what did you actually do? And then it made sense that I want to give classes. What I did is I didn't see it as dating. I took the pressure out, and you can use it not just for dating, because some people don't want to date that are here or that are over there. You can use it for any meeting that is on a certain personal level, because the professional level might be a little bit different. But when you want to get together with somebody, you don't have to avoid meeting them. You can take the pressure out. So I thought actually about myself, I was too shy to date, which I would never have done. If I would have lived in your country, I wouldn't have gone to a dating, because I would have thought, oh my God, what now? Yeah, how do I solve this problem? I would have been totally, I sweat when I just talk about it. It makes me nervous, and I don't know what to expect, and I don't know what this other person should expect, because it's called dating. So what I did in the past is I talked to those people. We cooked together, we met, and we got to know each other. We got to know each other. And from this, we decided to go together or not. Yeah? And this was a totally different story. We got to know each other. Very often I didn't even plan anything. So take the pressure out, right? Mm-hmm. The other thing is that I really thought, like you have those false beliefs about yourselves that are then in the way when we try to talk to somebody. No matter if we know this person better or if we want to get to know somebody better. It always comes out, what we think about ourselves. And I was really thinking, it's unbelievable, I was really thinking, when they get to know me better, they won't like me. And you know what? That's not so rare. A lot of people think that. It might not be exactly that sentence. That was my typical sentence. Because they knew me as a teacher. I was always somehow teaching. And they knew me as a therapist, usually, So when they get to know me for me, they won't like me. Does anybody think that about themselves too? You see? Or they will, whatever other scenario. Yeah? So that's a big deal. So very often we don't dare to turn those 3 common mistakes around for us because we have those beliefs about ourselves inside our head. And don't even look how somebody reacts. I didn't even look. How somebody reacted because I knew it already. Yeah. I worked on myself, so I had to look and I had to find out that this was what I did to myself. Yeah, it had nothing to do with reality. But for me, it felt as real as it would have happened. Is that correct how I say it? Yeah. And maybe you think about what that is for you, what you expect to happen that holds you back from really connecting to somebody. Yeah, because very often we keep ourselves busy so that we don't have to face our fears that come up when we want to connect. No matter if we know this person for a very long time or if we just meet them. And now it's getting very quiet in the room. Are you thinking about it? Yeah? Don't fall asleep. Yeah, that might be a defense mechanism. Okay. Questions so far? No?
Well,
Yeah. Speak loud and clear so that they can hear you.
so, I mean, it's kind of been demonstrated to me, people not liking me once they get to know me. So, what about that? I mean, what about that? Instead of what about that? What about that?
You know, the question is, did you have enough tools to find out how you would interact with them if you didn't think they wouldn't like you in the first place?
No,
Probably not.
Probably not.
So this is why one of the solutions that I want to offer tonight is, I wanted to offer solutions too, is that, you know, like Einstein, when Einstein said, the problem is rarely, you know, solvable on the level where it occurs. Usually you have to go to another level. So you can like take like dating classes, and this is why I think actually I might be really doing this, yeah, help people date, because what you always take with you is the date with yourself. You're not just dating the other person, you date yourself. Make sense?
Yes.
And that's not just for dating, yeah?
For everything.
It's for everything. You take yourself with you. That means when I create a certain space within which, you know, there's only nitrogen to breathe, yeah, then I might not get enough oxygen, yeah, because it's not a part of that space. Does it make sense? So when you go out or you approach people, even people that you see every day in your family, that they won't understand you anyway. That was another one. Nobody understands me anyway. Nobody will like me when they get to know me better. So then there is no air to breathe. There is no way that you explore another reality in this moment, right? So that's something where the first solution is, because it's not just about learning how to talk, right? It's also, and I think it's the main one, to be honest, get to know yourself. And a lot of people resist to get to know themselves. They would rather like to get to know, I don't know, the Kardashians or so, I have no idea, you know, or the Queen in England, you know, or something like that, somebody that they fantasize have a better life than themselves, than to get to know themselves. Does it make sense? And spend a lot of money and effort and time not to be themselves. Especially here. More than I've ever seen it anywhere. Especially here. And when you don't know who you are, that can be very frightening. And I think we all know how this feels. I don't think that we're just born knowing who we are, unless this is totally in your life path or so. I think it's a process, yeah. So when you know who you are, then you don't have to overcompensate so much, right? You don't have to spend so many hours on the toilet because you're so afraid of how people could approach you, or so many hours in the bathroom, or whatever, you know, or so many hours in the surgery to cover up who you are. Now, if you enhance who you are, that's a totally different thing. But in order to enhance who you are, you need to know who you are in the first place, and not just cover up. You can cover up with anything. With trained behavior, you can cover up with all the surgery in the world and all the makeup in the world. I don't say that you shouldn't put on some makeup. You know, it's nice to put on makeup, right?
Yeah.
When you feel this enhances who you are. Yeah? But if you feel like you cannot be without it, what are you actually feeling? If you feel like you can't be without this or that, that has nothing to do with you, it's just on the outside, what are you actually feeling? And all those fears come up when you try to connect with somebody. And this is why we sometimes choose partners that don't connect with us, so that we're safe, not even noticing it, you know, or friends who don't connect, so that we're safe, because we can always say, oh, it's them. And we all do that, it's easy. Yeah, then looking, wait a minute, what's actually happening here? I had a very interesting session today with somebody, and it came out that she is actually with somebody that she really loves, and now she thinks he's not the right guy. And then we found out that whenever she loves somebody, she thinks she has to take care of the person. A lot of women have that, by the way.
I was just going to say
I have to take care of this person. Another invalid in my life. You know, and in her case it was because she had to take care of the mother and the father. Yeah. And at a time where it was inappropriate. Yeah. And so for her, she carries that, and a lot of people have things like that, an equation inside her heart, all across this part here, an equation, love equals, I have to take care of them. Oh my God, I don't even want to go there. So, and it was a big deal, right? So a lot of women, especially, men have other defense mechanisms. I can talk about them too, but a lot of women cover that up by taking too much care without checking if this is actually necessary. Because we really feel very often not lovable enough. That we don't deserve, maybe, or that we don't have it in us, maybe, that somebody loves us just for ourselves. That is totally popular for women. So we actually exhaust ourselves very often in actions. Or, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So, you know, we think we have to give them this, our time, our resources, our money. Make a list. Popular. Who doesn't have that here? Here we go. Everybody. And then, you know, everybody. So this is something that needs to be explored. When you know yourself, you don't have to give too much. It doesn't mean that you become a self-centered asshole, you know. Sorry, I have to say it, yeah. But you do it, your giving matters more. Because, do you get that?
Yes.
Your giving matters more. Because it comes from a different place. I wouldn't say the other one isn't real, but it's real out of fear. If I don't do that, it's the fear. And when we do things out of fear, it always comes back to us, right?
Yeah.
We always have to pay a price. It exhausts us, or we are resentful. And this is why I say the first solution is get to know who you are. And that can be in many ways. When you know who you are, you're safe, and you do the things for a different reason. That is very important. Do you get that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, otherwise you're not allowed to go home. Okay, good. That's a joke. So without being attached, so get to know who you are, learn to appreciate that without, and love yourself, without being attached to your ego or to your self-identification. Now that's why I'm now, and now I'm telling that everybody. If you have to tell everybody, we're not living it. Let them find out that you believe your own self. If you tell everybody, and this is also something where a lot of communications and conversations go dead, because when people are so busy bragging about themselves, there's no mystery anymore. Let them find out how brilliant you are, how beautiful you are. You don't have to tell them. A meeting with a person, no matter if it's a date or if you go out with your husband after 30 years or so, or 1,000 years of marriage, yeah, it's not a job interview. You get that. You don't have to sell yourself. And if they tell you how good they are, you might get skeptical. Let me find out. You don't have to sell yourself. It's not a job interview, and there's no competition to win. To be one, to win, to be one. Both ways. Yeah. Are you still with me?
Mm-hmm.
You're very quiet people.
Wow. We're listening.
Okay.
Pay attention.
So that's very important. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Because when I have to say it, oh, you know, I'm this kind of person, are you? And, you know, and you fall in love with it. Yeah, you think you are this person, and that might keep you from being all the other versions of you. And then you have to play that person all the time. You know, I'm so loving and caring, I'm not selfish at all. I'm so loving and caring. Do you like me now when I say that? You know, we're laughing, but actually it's dangerous because we do it. Yeah? And then we put ourselves into that box, and they have to accept that we are loving and caring. But what if we're not? Are you allowed to be not loving and caring? Yeah. You know? But if you have to be that person all the time, that doesn't work. Take the pressure out. Okay? Make sense? Mm-hmm. Go to the light. Oh, go to the light. Okay. It's too much light, actually. Okay. Okay. That is very important. So get to know who you are. Then you can actually have that inner freedom and relaxation and serenity to get to know this other person for who they are. And you don't buy it. Because when they talk bullshit, you know, yeah, and you then connect with people that are also into being authentic, into real connections. Does that make sense? You know, because you're not in that.
It's impossible.
It's not impossible. When I can learn it, everybody can.
Is it really?
Yeah?
Sounds impossible to you?
Yes.
It might be a big deal. But I'm glad that you admit it, because it's harder than it sounds. Because when we do this, we have to shake up. I'm correcting now myself. We have to shake up our identity stuff a lot, what we believe in, and doubt that. Yeah? And that can bring some crises, but there's a big reward. When you get it, it's real. I hope I make sense, because it's actually deep stuff. I don't know if that is too deep for a class like that, but I want it like this. So I just trust that it's okay. Somehow. Okay. The second solution I want to offer is practice respectful curiosity and interest in the other person without having to control them what you need to give unsolicited advice. So it's all a little bit connected to what I said before. Actually, I didn't say this about the men. I only said that about the women, right? Do you want to hear it about the men?
No.
The rest
Oh,
wants to?
Sure.
So, the men, they very often overcompensate, yeah, because they are afraid that you notice that they are not good enough. Some of you know that already because we have talked about it more, yeah? So very often they show a certain behavior and it looks like they are maybe like an asshole, you know, but when you look deeper, you can then see what makes them do that. Oh, she might find out that I'm not good enough. And then you can react to that and not to their fear. The same the other way around, of course, you know. Okay? Enough for the men. No, it's actually for men too. Yeah. So, just joking. Okay. Practice respectful curiosity and interest, which needs to be practiced when you think you don't have nothing in common anyway, you know, or when you have already made up your mind. And a lot of people are not so interested in hearing what the other wants to say. They're more interested in giving unsolicited advice. It's very popular, right? It's very popular, and here you really need to train how to talk. That's what I'm going to offer, because after I decided that I want to give dating classes, I want to also give classes for mothers and grandmothers and fathers and grandfathers and aunties who have children at home, so that they can teach their children differently to talk instead of just being on the computer all the time, and also for couples. So there will be single classes for couples, and for the family people. Yeah? Because this is important. And this can be learned, but not without getting to know yourself. When you think you can just do it by copying or learning certain techniques, that's fast food. That's fast food mentality. All you get is fast food relationships. Yeah? Overfed and undernourished. Sorry. Okay?
I'm reading through that.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
So you really need to do your homework, and then you get the results, and they include you. Okay. And it can be fun. You know, it doesn't have to be miserable all the time, but it's effort, yeah? And the last solution that I would like to offer is learn to become a master in communication. And what I mean by that is, what time is it? Okay, that's very good. Learn how to open up a space for yourself as well as others. And that's possible, because that's what we learn in systemic dialoguing. But when I teach it in systemic dialoguing, it might be too abstract. This is why I want to teach it in a new way, so that it really has to do with your everyday life. You know, how do I open up a space for myself as well as for somebody else? That's doable. I do it with you all the time in the session, by the way. Yeah? And you notice. But that doesn't mean that I don't have space. I have space too, you know, but you have space too. Yeah? And you can't do that all the time, but you know, it's not about people to always tell me, I can't do that all the time. But who cares? It's not about doing it all the time. You're not awake all the time either, and you're still alive. It's not about that. It's that you do it at the right time, when it matters. When it matters. And not like a zombie, you know, that you're walking around like a zombie. I can't do it. Now it matters. So now you do it. This can be learned. Yeah. The second is how to become a master of communication is how to take the pressure out. There are tricks. Yeah. I do it with you when you come to private sessions. Not when you come to training. Yeah. But with private sessions I do it. Yeah. And most of you know the difference. How to take the pressure out. Because when you go home and you want to talk to your husband and you are already, under pressure, how does this go? You now need to give me the relief that I'm longing for because this is why I married you. Yeah. So let me dump on you or whatever, I'm just saying. Yeah. So take the pressure out. Like for example, you can say, I just need to get rid of it. You don't have to even say anything to it. Yeah. So treat it like just, getting rid of the pressure that I have inside me. And when I speak it out loud, it is better. You don't have to even react. Just be there. Yeah. For example. With how to create a space for yourself and others is by asking questions instead of giving unsolicited advice all the time, unless they ask you for advice, but then it's not unsolicited. Okay, and asking questions and listening, learning to listen. Yeah. And to do something with what you've heard. When you say, I'm listening, but there's nothing that refers to what I've said, that's not listening. That is learned. Remember, it's very important to stay authentic, not selling yourself, being yourself instead. Yeah? And then it's also how to get somebody to know. Because very often we don't, especially when we know somebody for a few years, we may risk that we don't make the effort anymore. I'm now looking at my husband, Paul. Not that I think we do it, yeah, but you're standing there and I know you for years, yeah. So it's important to ask, what makes you say that, Paul? How do you mean that? And I ask that quite a lot.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah. How do you how do you mean it?
Speak on somebody else.
Speak to somebody else. He's answering. That's a good conversation. We have to work on that one. So, you get it? So that you check your assumptions. Very often we treat our assumptions like realities, fixed realities, and don't check anymore. Good. So that's the most thing that I wanted to say. What do you think so far? I want to double check with you. What's going on inside you when you hear things like that? Who would like to share? If you share, say it loud so that they can hear it too.
You don't have to say it loud. You
Don't
can
have
hear
to
it too.
They can hear it?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's important to me. Sometimes you have to get your point across. That's a perfect example. No. The men very often, I want to use this because it's so
I
perfect.
wish there were other men.
The men very often correct the woman's feelings.
Oh.
But very often the women do that too. How often does it now happen in this time where we're so confused what is a man, what is a woman, what is masculine and what is feminine,
Amen.
that we do it with one another, we correct each other's stuff. Yeah? You don't need to do this or you don't have to feel that and so on. It's actually perfect. Yeah, thank you. Right? Mm-hmm. And instead of asking, and this is how you can create a space for yourself and others, what makes you do that? Yeah. What's behind it? Yeah. How do you mean it if it fits? Right? So that's something or that we want to fix, but that's the unsolicited advice when we want to fix. Yeah. Everybody's an expert in everything nowadays or not. Yeah, that we are so used to it. Yeah, that we don't distinguish anymore between a job interview and a communication with a loved one. Yeah, and we don't even notice it. But what it leaves inside us is like this emptiness, or the loneliness, or depression, or sleeping disorders, or stomach ache, or that we actually want to do something to ourselves and stuff like that. Yeah, because that kind of interaction doesn't fill us up. And this is why we're here, because when we know that this could be the reason, yeah, we can change our behavior. We might not be there yet, but we can work on it and practice, change our behavior until it becomes more real. Yeah, how we interact and how we claim also, how we want somebody else to approach us. Yeah, like I did that with Paul. Yeah, I made a point, but it's not against Paul. I love him. He's a good man. It doesn't mean that he's not a caring man. He's a caring man. Nevertheless, I have something where I felt I need a space, why I do certain things, And a lot of people actually would like to be asked, what makes you do that? How do you feel about it? What do you think about it? Yeah? Instead of being told how to not do what they do. Yeah? Or how to be better. Women do that very often. Yeah? How can you be better? And the men, they try to correct. Nowadays it's actually not so much men and women anymore. It's more that we both sexes are confused in this masculinity and femininity. But I asked you actually a question. So, any feedback? What's happening? Annie, you seem to...
Okay, even anybody here who's married has been through, dating or getting to know,
everybody.
And I hear this all the time, but I don't feel this way. They say in the beginning when you're getting to know something, they don't like that part of it. The beginning.
Oh, really?
But I've only lived in this country. I hear it all the time. Like, I hate in the beginning the getting to know somebody. Like, they just want to be into that comfort zone. But
really?
But I prefer the getting to know better than the comfort zone.
Yeah, it both has its charms.
Yeah.
I didn't know about that.
Is that why you were prompted to do these dating classes? Is to help people to like it better?
That is a good idea.
I like it. I like
Yes.
it. It's fun. You're going out.
That they like
You're
it.
putting on lipstick. You're getting to know, new conversation. It's not so boring yet.
You know what? That actually is the point. This is actually every point that I wrote here, and I didn't know why I was writing it, because I actually got the message in the night. So I had to wake up somehow and write it all down. But now it makes sense why I wrote it all down, what it is about, of what you said. I didn't know that. So yes, I would like to say yes. I think when there is a certain expectation, a certain pressure, a certain demand of selling yourself or beating the competition, yeah, where's the fun?
Well, you nailed it when you changed it. The word dating, to me, has a bad stigma. And I didn't know that until I started to get to know myself. It's dating, I wouldn't want to do that anymore, but getting to know somebody is both people have a chance.
I never thought that I was dating in my life.
Yeah, that's an American
I only
thing.
thought it when I came here. Oh, what is that? What is dating? And it was like as if I never had anybody in my life, but I had. So I must have done something, but I didn't think it was dating. So I can imagine, you're right. It's about transforming that into a natural, a fun development wherever this goes, and to connect. I agree. I like that you said that a lot. I think that now I understand why this is so important.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anybody else?
That's what Annie said. So getting back to the part that she likes, getting to know someone, to make that actually more a comfortable, a more pleasurable experience. Mm-hmm. Because it is like, I don't have enough time in the day, and I don't date. I'm single. to find out what your favorite color is. Like, honestly, I don't really care because you know, I just think that should be more of comfort. It's that's uncomfortable to me. You know,
yeah. So
it has to be.
Actually, when I look back, all my relationships that I've had, you know, no matter if they lasted 2 years or longer, I already knew those people. We had spent enough time in all kinds of different contexts in life to actually know what we're signing up for. Yeah. Then we didn't want to sign up for that anymore. So, you know, but when I look back, I never had anybody that I didn't know, and I think that answers what you bring in. And because, you know, when it sounds very disconnected to me. Now we're dating, and now we do this, and now we do that.
The timeline.
And what does that mean? And you know, this is probably why I had to write down, take the pressure out. You know, more excitement rather than expectation. More not selling yourself, more exploring each other. You know, also you can explore who you are when you are with this person. You don't have to be together, you know. And unless you decide so, but then you decide so. But I would never call it dating. And I think that might be the problem, because I hear more and more people who don't want to put themselves out. And I think I would still be a virgin, to be honest. Yeah, if I would have to do that, you know, I would think, oh my God, I can't do it. Yeah. So, whatever that dating is. Yeah. So, I think that explains a lot. And because of that, I would like to share with you that I have next week a class, an evening class, Thursday night. It's Love at First Contact. Everybody can come. And I will do more classes for the different contexts. As I said, for couples, for singles who want to not date anymore, and but they don't want to be doomed to be singles all the time, or be just more, you know, natural, and for family people. And so let me think. I have to think about it. So we have discounts for people. And I have to tell the people, because we will stop after an hour, and then we go into the questions and answers here. So if you have questions and you need answers, or you have answers and you want to share them, please contact me, text me on Facebook. Message me on Facebook with the email address and the password talk. And when you say talk, you get the discount for the classes too. And also there are private sessions for that, of course, because the biggest thing is to get to know you, and to be you, and to dare to be you.
Dare to be you, I like that.
Okay. So before we go into sharing and questions and answers, thank you and bye-bye.